Did you realize that when you stop messaging and stop phoning, you cause a significant mental shift in her? And cease following her thoughts as they spiral, her feelings get more intense, and all of a sudden, the power dynamics entirely shift. This is a tried-and-true psychological tactic that keeps women returning, not just a hypothesis. Remain with me, because after watching this video, you will know exactly why stepping away is effective and how to use it to change your relationships. Let's begin. The shock factor in part 1, which explains why your absence is so painful. Walking away causes a psychic earthquake that trembles the core of her emotions, in addition to being a bodily activity. Women, particularly in today's validation-driven society, are accustomed to being in charge. Consider the constant barrage of attention they get from men competing for their time and attention on social media, which gives them the impression that they can set the terms of every interaction. When you choose to leave, you completely break that cycle. She may initially dismiss it, telling herself that he will return. The shock factor, how your absence hits hard. They always do, but as the days pass and your silence persists, her confidence starts to wane, and a small seed of doubt begins to grow. This is where the shock sets in, not only because you're not there, but also because she's not used to dealing with emotional uncertainty. Psychologically, your absence forces her to face something she rarely does without your attention, feeding her ego and making her feel vulnerable. Vulnerability is something most people avoid because it's uncomfortable, but it's also what makes us human. Suddenly, she's left wondering if she misjudged you. Did she underestimate your value? Did she assume you'd always be there? And the key is that this isn't about you doing anything drastic. You're just putting yourself first, but to her, it feels like the ground has moved. Your silence tells her that you're different from the others and that you're not pursuing, pleading, or begging for her time. Instead, you're walking away with confidence, and that confidence is what shakes her the most. Section 2. The Scarcity Principle, Why She Values You More. The scarcity principle is one of the most potent forces in human psychology, and it plays a huge role in relationships. Consider this. We naturally want what we can't have. When something is readily available, its value diminishes. But when it becomes scarce, we're prepared to go to great lengths to obtain it. This principle is deeply rooted in human behavior, and it's exactly why walking away makes such a profound impact when you're always available. Texting her first, responding, instantly always being there. You unknowingly make yourself too accessible. She doesn't have to work for your attention, so it becomes something she takes for granted. But the moment you walk away, the dynamic changes completely. Your attention, which she may not have even realized she valued, suddenly becomes rare. And here's the thing about scarcity. It doesn't just create desire. It creates urgency as time passes, and you maintain your distance. She starts to feel the weight of your absence. She begins to replay the moment you spent together, the way you made her feel, and the energy you brought into her life. The more she thinks about it, the more she realizes how much she took you for granted. This realization doesn't happen overnight, but when it hits hard. This is where the comparison game starts. She might go on dates or talk to other men, but subconsciously she's comparing them to you. And let's face it, if you've been a high-value man, confident and self-assured, those other men won't measure up. They may seem charming on the surface, but they lack the depth, genuineness, and emotional fortitude you provide. Her absence not only makes her miss you, but it also changes the way she sees you. You're more than just the guy. Section 3. The Emotional Ripple Effect. The Scarcity Principle. Why She Values You More. You've become the man who put himself before pursuing someone who didn't fully appreciate him, and that decision makes you irreplaceable in her eyes. How desire is amplified by distance. She may initially feel uninterested and even persuade herself that she would be better off without you. But this apathy is fleeting because walking away arouses a deeper emotional curiosity. Walking away is more than just establishing physical distance. It's about starting a chain reaction of emotions that intensify over time. The human brain detests unresolved situations. So when you leave her with a question she can't answer or an emotional outburst, she begins to question why it keeps coming up in her head. The more she thinks about it, the more she begins to examine every exchange, every word, and every second before you leave. Understanding herself is the goal of this study, not understanding you. As the days stretch into weeks, the emotional ripple effect starts to set in. This isn't about love or affection, rather, it's about the need to fill the void you've left behind. Here's the key: emotional distance amplifies desire. The less accessible you are, the more valuable you become. This isn't manipulation. It's human nature for people to be drawn to what they can't have, and your absence creates a vacuum that she's desperate to fill. The curiosity that began as a small thought develops into a full-blown obsession. She begins to wonder what you're doing, who you're with, and why you haven't reached out. Desire your presence. Every unspoken statement and unanswered inquiry heightens the strain, and when she finally understands that she might lose you permanently, her urge to get back in touch becomes unbearable. Section 4. Time's function and how being absent increases your worth. When you leave, the clock starts to tick, and every second of your absence works in your favor, making time one of the most underappreciated aspects of relationships, yet a key component in why women can't resist returning. In hindsight, it becomes evident that this is more than simply nostalgia as the days pass, and she begins to think about you more and more. The things you said, the way you made her feel, and the energy you brought into her life all become more apparent. It's an appreciation of the value you've added over time, notwithstanding small disputes or arguments. Anticipation is increased by fading into the background and preserving only the pleasant recollections. Time proves your strength by not reaching out and demonstrating that you are not dependent on her validation. This independence is uncommon and incredibly attractive because it shows that you are secure in yourself. Over time, she starts to see you as someone who doesn't need her, but someone she might need in her life, and that shift in perspective makes her more likely to return. Your absence creates a sense of suspense in her mind as she begins to wonder if you've moved on, if you're seeing someone else, or if you're happier without her. Section 5. The psychology of regret and the reasons behind her inquiries. One of the strongest feelings is letting go of regret, which is also a major reason why women return. When you leave, you give regret a place to grow. Here's how it works. When she begins to think back on your absence, she realizes what she lost. Perhaps the emotional connection, the support you gave, or the way you made her feel understood. These realizations don't come all at once. They develop over time and become more difficult to ignore. The first regret is caused by missed opportunities. Enhanced by comparison, she starts to observe the distinctions when she engages with other males. Every interaction reinforces the idea that she let go of someone special, and her third regret causes longing. This isn't just about missing you. It's about wishing she could go back in time and make different decisions. Perhaps they don't listen the way you did, or they lack the confidence and emotional depth you brought to the table. This desire turns into a strong incentive for her to get in touch in the hopes of re-establishing a connection with what she believes she has lost in Section 6. The ability of emotional detachment in silence. Most people undervalue the ability to detach, although it's one of your most effective tools when leaving. Detachment safeguards your serenity by rerouting your energy into your own development rather than squandering it on overanalyzing or pursuing someone who doesn't appreciate you. It doesn't mean you stop caring. Rather, it means you stop letting your emotions rule you. This change not only makes you stronger, but also more appealing since it demonstrates your self-respect. Being detached and not overly reacting or emotional leads to mystery. She wonders what's going through your head, and this mystery adds to your interest because it demonstrates your resistance to outside influences. Ultimately, detachment provides you control so that you can make thoughtful judgments based on what's best for you rather than responding rashly to her actions. This poise distinguishes you since it demonstrates emotional maturity and self-discipline. The function of time. Lack of time causes the heart to reflect seldom occurring and highly desired qualities. Section 7. The way that leaving turns the power dynamic. One of the biggest consequences of leaving is that it shifts the balance of power in your favor. Walking away puts her in a position of reflection because, rather than you worrying about what she's thinking, she's now wondering about you. This reversal of roles is powerful because it forces her to focus on what she might lose rather than what she's gaining. Relationships are often a delicate balance of power, and by walking away, you completely shift that balance. When you're constantly chasing someone who doesn't reciprocate, you're giving away your energy and control. But when you walk away, you show her that you're in charge of your own life. Being dynamic increases your desirability. Walking away reveals that you are not scared to put yourself first, even if it means letting go of something or someone you care about. Confidence and independence are highly desirable traits. Section 8. The role of social proof. How other people increase your worth. People are naturally drawn to those who are admired by others, so when you walk away and concentrate on yourself, social proof confirms your value. If you're succeeding, reaching your goals, and getting positive attention from others, it sends a message that you're valuable. She will notice this change in how people interact with you. Social proof is a subtle but powerful factor that plays a significant role in relationships. When she sees other women expressing interest in you or learns about your accomplishments, social proof makes her jealous. Even if she doesn't acknowledge it, the thought of someone else capturing your attention can be a strong incentive for her to approach you, and social proof ultimately confirms her regret. Not only does she miss you when she sees you succeeding without her, but she also starts to wonder why she let you go. This mix of feelings makes you want to connect with her, even if it means eating her. Section 9 of Pride. Even if she doesn't get in touch right away, the long-term impact of her worrying about you leaving doesn't only have a temporary effect, it creates a lasting impression. She experiences the psychological effects of your absence initially. Over time, these memories return, particularly when she meets guys who don't measure up second. Your absence becomes a memory she can't shake because of the way you conducted yourself, the confidence you displayed, and the way you made her feel. The reason she can't let go, the fact that your departure isn't addressed, makes her think people need answers. Therefore, when you leave her without explaining yourself, she is left with unanswered questions. These issues plague her, making it more difficult for her to go on. Ultimately, the long-term impact stems from your development as you keep bettering yourself, reaching your objectives, and gaining confidence. She will see the version of you that she lost, and this revelation not only makes her miss you, but also makes her realize that she will never again find someone who is like you. Section 10. When she finally decides to reach out after all the overanalyzing, regret, and emotional changes, this is the point at which your response is most important. First, don't overreact when she does. It may be tempting to immediately revert to your old habits, but keep in mind that your strength is in remaining composed and respectful. Second, let her demonstrate her intentions. If she is genuinely sorry, she will make the effort to mend the relationship. Whether you decide to reconnect or move on, your top priority should always be your personal development. By remaining loyal to yourself and your values, you preserved the strength and confidence that initially made her want to return. And now you understand why walking away is so powerful. This isn't about playing games. Rather, it's about making sure that any future interactions are founded on mutual respect and effort. If you found value in this video, press the like button. For additional thoughts, subscribe and leave a comment below. What is the most important relationship lesson you have ever learned? See you in the upcoming one.